My fellow board game faithful,
Hello.
it is that time of the year when we reflect on where we've come from, when we look forward with anticipation to where we're going. My
Sound
friends,
forth the shofar.
blow the shofar. It is time for the state of the podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Board Game Faith. My name's Daniel.
My name's Kevin.
And it is a joy to have you here today listening for a little bit of a different kind of episode. We are pausing to do a state of the podcast. And Kevin, what are we doing with the state of the podcast today?
Well, Daniel, we're both in a bit of a transition in terms of work and service and areas, and you are actually even moving house, so some changes going on, and we thought we would take a moment to reflect and look back on the podcast and not do a clip show, but to do a memory lane analysis. SWOT. Do you ever do a SWOT?
What's this?
Strengths,
strengths, weaknesses,
oppositions,
apples,
SWAT,
apexes,
SWAT. We would
tomatoes.
do just a little bit of a where are we now? Where have we been? Yeah,
I
Does
like
that sound
it.
fair?
Is it a very special Board Game Faith episode?
It is,
Nice,
and it's for the holiday known as April 30th.
Good old April 30th.
Yes, it's an ancient, important holiday.
I meant to send you my April 30th card, and I didn't get it in the mail yet. I'm sorry, but
It's a Terran holiday. So those from the Outer Rim don't understand, but it's uniquely Terran festival.
Oh,
The April
is that
30th.
I should know this. I feel like this is a sci-fi reference that I'm missing.
No, I just made it up.
You just made it up.
I just made it up.
That's just how awesome you are. You don't even need to draw from a sci-fi
No.
universe. You
Well,
just
here's
kind
the
of have
thing,
it in
Daniel.
your brain.
In sci-fi, they're just making it up too.
What?
Yes.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to think about that. Well, thank you. I like it. So, So we're celebrating April 30th with the state of the podcast, and thank you, as you were saying, Kevin. Thank you for your grace in also in just this vision for this episode. I think gives us both a little grace in these transitions, and our folks who are watching this episode on YouTube can see I've got some pretty bare walls behind me, and there's just boxes everywhere, and I had to dig out a lamp to get a little bit of lighting before this, and actually you can't see this, Kevin, but my computer and my microphone and everything are actually balanced on boxes right now.
Nice,
So
nice.
We don't.
When Daniel says he had to dig out his lamp, what he means actually, it's a Missouri tradition that you bury your lamp for the next homeowner. And it's sort of a good luck thing. It might be Native American. They're not really sure where the tradition came from. So he's dug it up to reuse it, but then he's going to have to rebury it yet again as good luck. And so when the next neighbor finds that lamp, they know it will be a year of prosperity.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Nice. Yeah,
and actually, though, it's I appreciate you bringing it up, and I don't want to take too much credit, though. It's actually kind of easy to find it because you just see where the cord goes underground.
Right.
And I think it's kind of a waste of energy to keep the bulb running, but it's
that's
it's
a
the
holiday
tradition.
for you.
It's
They're
the
all
tradition.
a waste of energy.
April
to be
30th.
honest.
April 30th. Yeah.
That's good. April
Well,
30th.
yeah. So hopefully the light has enough of the dust and mud brushed off for some proper lighting for this state of the podcast. So
I'm doing a little bit of Our Family Plays Games, that great YouTube channel, and they always do a news a week, and Mick does and Starla gets annoyed at him. So
that's so cool.
funny,
I love Our Family Plays Games.
Yeah, they're so awesome.
We should. Those are some. We've been talking about trying to get them on this podcast too.
Yeah, we're gonna get them.
It'd be wonderful. Yeah. So, Kevin, I did a little extensive research, by which I mean I spent like 10 seconds reading the Wikipedia intro article on State of the Union. And apparently, the State of the Union typically covers reports or statistics, progress, and priorities. And so I thought we were talking, we could gather these around statistics, progress, meaning like favorite memories, where we've come from, and priorities, like what do we hope for the future? What have we learned? Things like that. Just so we can be in line with the Wikipedia vision of State of the Union. Does that sound okay?
I like it.
For you? Okay.
It's a 3-point sermon.
It is. And we're going to end with a poem.
And a poem.
There once was a podcast called Board Game Faith. And that's about all I've got from it. All right. So we're going to start off with statistics. And we're going to play a little game here. I have done some research. And actually, Kevin gets all the credit because Kevin set up all the software to do this, but I just log on and look at the statistics.
I just entered an email address, Daniel, but go ahead. That's fine.
Well, that's okay. That's fine. Well, as far as I know, you might have coded the whole thing. It was. I don't. So these are statistics. I've got 8 questions about statistics regarding Board Game Faith.
Okay.
We haven't talked about these first. I'm just going to ask Kevin, and we'll see what he thinks. All right. So Kevin, as you know, so far we have had 28 episodes of Board Game Faith up until this one. And then there's kind of the bonus, like, hey, we're at 1,000 downloads episode. But the 28 actual episodes.
Wow.
Before this, I know. Guess what the average combined number of downloads plus views on YouTube is for each episode. So if you combined all of the downloads and the views on YouTube and divided that by all of our episodes, how many interactions are there per episode?
8 trillion.
8 trillion is correct. Good job. That's
there
great.
Is plus or how this poll does have so there's a plus or minus 8 trillion.
Yeah,
you have to factor that in.
It actually, even without that, you are spot on. That's great. I wish I had my bell and my my clown horn to do, but those are packed up, so I can't do that.
I'm gonna go with 50.
That's
no. Wait, you said average all time. Okay, I was thinking weekly. Okay,
right, all time.
130.
Oh my goodness, that's so close.
Really?
That's right. Actually, that's spot on for it's the number of downloads on average per episode is 130 episodes, or downloads per episode. Combining YouTube, and YouTube is a newer beast. We just recently added it, thanks to you. But if you throw those views in, it's averaging 138 per episode.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
oh my gosh,
138 of you all out there listening.
We love you.
To each other. Yeah. So thank you so much. We that is a great gift.
138 very handsome, very just wonderful people out there right now behind this piece of glass I'm looking at.
I am imagining that too. And right. And they're probably just now starting to really be able to focus on our words because the laughter is probably dying off from our initial silliness because they found it so hilarious. They're wiping the tears away from their eyes. And I imagine that too. Well, that's a great job, Kevin. You are awesome. All right, number 2, how many Instagram followers do we currently have as of yesterday, which would be April 29th, which is April 30th Eve?
I know we're past 1,000.
Yeah, that's right.
So 1,017.
Oh, very close again. 1,010. You're good at this.
Oh my goodness,
you're good at this. Very good.
I glanced this morning at our downloads stats page.
Yeah.
For a few minutes, but that of course means I've promptly forgotten it all and have no idea. So I honestly don't. I'm just kind of riffing on my past knowledge.
Well, it just shows how knowledgeable you are. I like you're naturally knowledgeable. I like it.
No.
Good job.
I'm just a bluffer.
And the fact that we have surpassed 1,000 downloads it gives us a good opportunity to give a teaser. We're having a contest, but stay tuned to the end of the episode. You'll find out more about the contest.
Too.
It is.
I
it
love
is.
This
it's really
contest.
Cool. All right, number 3. Besides our first episode, Which episode has been the most popular with the most downloads?
I think I know because I was glancing this morning just so I
Yeah.
had some ideas.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
I think it might be the Dave Bindelwald episode. Is that correct?
That is a great guess.
That's one of them.
That was popular. It's not the most popular though,
Oh,
outside
sorry,
of
Brother Dave.
our first episode. Do you want another guess or just tell you?
Judaism with Alex Radcliffe.
That's it. That's it. Good job. Episode 14, Orthodox Judaism and Board Games with Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
When you bring the fire, you bring the fire, Alex. So
That's right. That's right. As of my checking it, that episode had 180 downloads.
wow.
So, yeah. All right. The most popular country, you're doing great, Kevin. The most popular country for downloads of Board Game Faith is the United States. 81% of our downloads are in the United States. What are the next?
Having a populous country really helps. I've heard.
It does. It does. It does. That's why we don't get, why we have no downloads in Vatican City. Or, which is
right.
which
It
is
a country,
frustrating
isn't it?
because we're all about
Yes.
faith and board games, and surely
But
someone
here's the
plays board
weird
games
bit
in
in the
Vatican
stats.
City.
There's
Yeah.
an other category. And have you ever
Yes.
wondered what that is?
Yes,
Dark
I
Side of the
do.
Moon?
I do. I wonder
Galileo Outpost?
if I know other
What
Atlantis.
is other? Remember
know.
on G.I. Joe, Cobra Command had their own island at one point?
I
That might have
forgot
been
that,
in the
no.
comics. There was a whole plot line where they put bombs underneath the ocean, and G.I. Joe didn't know why. And it ends up they blew up part of the ocean to get the seafloor to rise so they could claim their own island and therefore their own nation state.
Really?
Yes, it was so
I didn't know
cool. Such
this.
a great idea.
You know,
So it's Cobra Island.
Cobra had the cool outfit. The Cobra Commander, he's the guy who had the mirror face, right? The mirror. You never
No,
saw
you're
his
thinking
face.
of that's Destro.
Destro.
Wait, no, you're right. Wait, no, you're right. You're right. That was Cobra Commander. He did have like the solid, mirror face. You're right.
Yeah, but then there was another guy with the
Destro was
metal
just
face.
silver.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
metal
Okay. Okay.
face.
Okay.
And there was
Okay.
a plot line. Was it him? No, it was the other guy. They tried to create the greatest military commander in the history, and they went and sampled DNA from all the tombs of the great leaders and created a new leader
Whoa.
to replace him. Yeah, so it had like the Pharaoh and Ramses the Second and Julius Caesar, and like they sampled all little bits of DNA and then mashed it into a Frankenstein monster.
Wow.
Anyway,
Now I want to revisit GI Joe and Cobra Commander.
yeah, the problem is they were way cooler. You're right. Cobra Command was way cooler than G.I. Joe. Also, there's a running joke in G.I. Joe. It took me a while to figure out that to get to G.I. Joe's headquarters, you have to go through the chaplain's motor pool, like where they store the trucks for the chaplain's office. That was the
Really?
main office. There's like a secret hallway, and you go down there, and that's how you got into G.I. Joe headquarters.
I
the
didn't know that.
chaplain's motor pool. Yeah, they must have just died laughing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
isn't that
awesome.
cute? Tongue-in-cheek.
That's a sign. That's a sign of a good secretive organization. If you go through the chaplain's
Because who would
garage,
be worried about, one of the chaplain's Jeeps?
right?
Cobra
right.
Commander would never look there.
No, it's like, where do they store this top secret weapon? I'm not looking
Exactly.
in the chaplain's Jeep.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. Well, it's so the next. So the question
Downloads,
is
the next country.
The next 5 countries.
I
Can you
was
guess-
looking this morning, full
Yes, yes.
disclosure.
So the next 5
number
most popular
2
countries.
was Vatican City. Number 3 is Canada, I believe.
That's right. Canada is the second most popular downloads after U.S. What's you guess number 3?
UK.
Yes, you're
Is
so
it?
good. Our friends over in the United Kingdom, and our
Never
friends in
heard of
Canada
them.
too. We didn't.
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
what. Yeah, you'll have to
It's
have to tell me more later. What is this place?
it's what they call it. I think they call it across the pond. You go across the pond, and it's mostly England in the United Kingdom, but we have some from Scotland, and I think even a few from Wales as well. Those are
Okay,
three
excellent.
three main areas in the United Kingdom that have downloaded us. We haven't seen any in Northern Ireland. All right, can you guess number 4 or the number 3rd most
scared.
popular after This is the first non-English speaking primary country. The biggest non-English
We've got
country.
some in Russia. Is it Russia?
Russia is up there. Russia is the fourth most downloaded after the US, but this is right before Russia, in between the UK and Russia. It's okay.
Give me a first letter.
G.
Georgia?
Georgia would be great. It's not Georgia. It's not. You were
Ghana.
referencing a theologian. Ghana would also be awesome. It's not Ghana. You were referencing a theologian from this country right before we started recording.
It can't be Germany, because that's Deutschland.
No, it is Germany.
It's Germany.
It's Germany.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
using the English name for it. You're
the
right.
English
Yeah,
name.
sorry. I should have said D for Deutschland.
The world is so complicated. We should
It
just
is
start all over.
complicated. Why don't we all have standardized names for countries across
I don't know.
languages?
Why don't we just call people what they're called?
Yeah, I'm with you. So yes, Germany, the highest number of downloads in a non-English primary English speaking country, primarily in the region of Hesse. All right, and then we already got number 4 is Russia. We got Russia, and so
I can speak a sentence in Russian.
Oh, let me hear.
I learned at Wake Forest from Scott. Forget his last name. He was taking Russian, and I don't know why. It's one of those things I remember. Yana Duno Postju Pazlat Pismo.
Whoa!
I know, it sounds great. I'm going to the post office to mail a letter. So
that's awesome. Have you used that often?
Russia.
Yeah. I like it. That probably has inspired our listeners.
I know.
I like
they
it.
probably
I like
just remembered a letter they need to mail.
I like it. We have relatives in Germany, and I'm very thankful for that. And we have just had kind of contact, pretty frequent contact throughout our lives and throughout my life. And every 5 to 10 years, like they'll come here to visit, or we'll go there to visit. Anyway, my one of my relatives over there reminded me that my first time there, when I was just starting to learn German. I still don't know it very well. My son Elijah knows it a lot better than I do. But my cousin reminded me that over there the most eloquent thing I could say was machen Sie bitte den Kofferraum auf, which means please open the trunk of your car. So that was what I so that may be even less useful than I'm going to the post office. So
I'm about to kidnap you. Please open the trunk of your car for me.
So if you're ever stuck in Europe,
So
if you have a letter to mail in Russia, talk to Kevin.
Yes,
if you need someone to open up the trunk in Germany, talk to
the
me.
letter's in the trunk. So
Okay,
please open
that's
the trunk
right.
So I can mail the letter. That's right.
And then the fifth most
That's so funny.
common country, the fifth most popular country after the U.S. Do you have any guesses for that one?
First
So far,
letter.
we've had Canada,
or a
UK.
rhyme. I need a hint. Or a rhyme, or a joke.
We have had a guest from this country recently, in fact.
Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
That's a good guess. And Saudi Arabia was up there for a while, but this has surpassed Saudi Arabia.
Japan?
Japan!
Japan is that high?
Yeah. Japan is our fifth most downloaded country after the U.S. So, yeah.
Wow.
So, to all of our listeners, wherever you are, thank you so much.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think I saw Takuya Ono-san shared his episode on his Facebook, and he has been liking all of our posts, and he's been
that's so great.
as have a lot of our guests. So thank you to all of our guests. So within the U.S., do you want to guess what some of the most popular states are that have downloaded our podcast?
Definitely Missouri.
Missouri's number 1. Yep. So good job to
Virginia.
Missouri for representing.
And some of
What's
this
that?
I had looked at a month ago or so. So full disclosure.
Yeah.
Virginia?
Virginia, for the longest time, was the second highest state. It is not anymore. It's now number 3.
Okay.
So thanks to our listeners, Virginia. There's a state in between Missouri and Virginia.
First letter or something famous from it. Gosh, if I get these wrong, it's going to be really embarrassing.
No, don't be embarrassed.
But it would be thoroughly American to actually not know things about your own country,
It is
or actually things about anywhere. So
it's good. It's a it starts with O.
Ohio.
Ohio. Thanks to all of our
Ooh.
home of Gen Con and all sorts of other great board game things.
Excellent.
So thanks to our Ohio listeners. After Missouri, Ohio, and Virginia is a state that I suspect you know well.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Ding 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 ding.
And then right after North Carolina, the fifth highest state is one of the most populous states.
It's gonna be California or Texas.
It is California.
It is
Very good job.
California.
Very good job. So to all of our listeners, wherever you are, we're grateful. Kevin, you're just doing great. All right. How many countries in how many countries are there downloads of Board Game Faith? How many total countries? So we're talking with, let's say like 180 countries plus, right, in the world.
Okay.
How many of those have downloaded Board Game Faith? Where have we seen downloads?
40.
Oh, that's so close.
Yes.
35 countries around the world.
150 to go, Daniel.
Yep. So we're talking. That's
We
right.
should do like a balloon, hot air balloon around the world and broadcast continuously. And then we could say we were live in every country.
I love it. I love it.
Except I guess some countries, the hemisphere, you'd have to keep going, wouldn't you? Does that make sense? Like you couldn't just go around the equator because you'd miss some.
Oh yeah. We'd have
So
to
to
cover
get by
the whole
all
Earth.
of it, you'd have to just keep zipping
Yeah.
around different axes.
I think that should be a stretch goal on our Patreon. I think that's
stretch goal.
I think that would be great.
And you might,
That'd be
when we get in
great.
the balloon, you're like, where's the toilet? And I say, Daniel, where we're going, we don't need toilets.
We don't need
Just
toilets.
go outside the basket.
Please open up the trunk of your car quickly.
Exactly.
That's good.
Sorry, Canada.
How many continents have downloaded Board Game Faith? How many continents have
Okay, this is going to be embarrassing. It's been a while. There's 7 continents?
There are 7. Well, there are 7 continents. However, there's 7. But
7.
there's something I want to talk about after that. But we'll answer the question first, and then I'll.
4.
But yes. So of the 7,
4.
that's a great guess.
But it's
But
wrong.
no, it's 6. Everything except for Antarctica.
Intercontinental.
We've been downloaded on every continent. I know. I'm so thankful. I know. It's so exciting. So thanks to everyone on all the continents who are listening. Except Antarctica and Atlantis. We are, but that's so great.
Rise, my people, rise.
So here's the thing about continents, number of continents, and board games. So all growing up, in school, I learned there are 7 continents, right? North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia. But then, if you recall, a few years ago, we both had this game, Seventh Continent, right?
Yes.
And it was about the discovery of this new, secret, mysterious 7th continent. And when I got it, I was like, well, this doesn't make sense because there are 7 continents. So it can't, a new continent would be the 8th continent. So I did some research, and you might know this already, Kevin.
No, I don't know where this
yeah.
is going. Even
So,
though I had the
and-
game,
and-
I'm not smart enough to even have thought about that.
No, you're
No,
way,
I'm
way
not.
smart. But and listeners around the world, please let us know if I'm wrong on this. But I did some research. As I understand it, it turns out most of the world considers North America and South America to be the same continent. It's just called the Americas. It's just called, and so for most of the world, there are only 6 continents. It's taught that there's only 6 continents.
Okay.
But it's just here
because
in the U.S.
game's out of France, right?
Exactly. And in France, there's only considered 6 continents. The Americas are considered 1 continent. So I thought that was really interesting. So the idea there's 7 continents is a fairly American view that most of the world doesn't view the world as having 7 continents, but having 6
That is
continents.
really weird.
Isn't that interesting?
I thought people agreed on basic geography.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And yet Europe and Asia are universally considered to be separate continents, even though if you look on the map, it's hard to, they're
That's
quite
always
obviously one
bothered
big
me.
continent.
It's
Yeah.
always been arbitrary because at least with the Americas, it does thin out a bit. Like you can
Right,
argue
right.
that looks like a little appendix there.
It's almost separate. Yeah.
It's almost separate, but Europe and Asia is kind of like what is it? The Danube or something? What separates it?
I don't remember the is it the Caucasus Mountains? No. The Ural Mountains. The
Yeah, I
Ural
guess not the
Mountains.
Danube. That's
The
still
Ural.
in Austria, but it's getting close, right?
I think it's a mountain range. The Ural Mountains, maybe.
The Ural Mountains.
You know, I'm living up to that American expectation that you
exactly.
said. We
In our defense, it's not as if we've been there and hiked the area. So in our defense, but yeah, we probably should have. Yeah, we
except
probably should know
to
a lot
tell
more.
people to mail something from the post office and open their trunks in
Exactly.
the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
and
great job.
also that South America is like way down would be really far from here.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like you can argue two continents just based on landmass,
Right. Right.
or not
Yeah,
landmass,
that's very true.
distance. Sorry, distance.
Right. Yeah, and that would argue for
An unladen swallow would take 50 hours to fly there. Now a laden swallow, it's Monty Python Holy Grail, right?
that's a good Monty Python reference. I like it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like it. Last question:
And-
in a recent listener survey, what percentage say they listen because Kevin is awesome?
Negative 14%.
No,
Which is weird because my mom's the one that filled it out.
This is the question that you've gotten completely wrong.
Oh.
It's a full 100%, Kevin.
Oh.
Everyone listens because you're awesome, man. So there you go. That's
You too, buddy.
those are the statistics. So thank
Wow,
you. Good. You
that's
did a
great.
great job. You did a great
Yeah.
job. So
You too.
and
You too.
hopefully-
you're prepared.
well, thanks. And thanks to you listeners. Hopefully you found some of that interesting. We hope.
Mm-hmm.
But so please just know if you're listening, you're not alone. You're a part of a community from every continent in the world except for Antarctica and a lot of different countries. And so yeah. All right, progress. Favorite memories. Kevin, what have been some of your favorite memories from this last year?
Spending time with you.
Thank you. I
Making
agree.
up some stupid jokes. Like
Yeah.
the even though we don't do it anymore as much, the clap thing was great, and doing some of those crazy skits and voices and getting silly. So loved that. Adrian Adamescu, he was just really very captivating.
Yeah.
So really neat guy.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and I think Ono-san, interviewing him, just felt so kind of, I don't know, sort of awesome, because you're talking to someone on the other side of the world who's in a very different culture, and and he's a Buddhist monk, and so part of that was just, the sense of what's exotic, which is totally just in my head, but it was pretty like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. The fact that we could, like you said, talk to someone on the other side of the world.
Yeah, an age of miracles, right?
Yeah,
That we could
and he was
interview
so
someone on
gracious
the
and
other side of the
kind
world through the
yeah.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about
Those
you?
are great. Well, just very similar. Yeah. I mean, hanging out with you and getting to, really getting to know each other again, has been a great blessing.
Yeah, we
you
have
know,
not stayed in touch over the many decades that we knew each other. So
Yeah.
Right.
So it was, just being able to rediscover that friendship has been a great blessing and gift to me. Like you said, our guests have been great. We've had 7 guests. I was counting them all. We've had, Ollie Carrar, Reverend Chelsea Hilliard, Dave Binwald, Alex Radcliffe, Adrian, as you said, Dan Thoreau, Takuya Ono-san, and they've just all been great. I think some of my favorite members especially revolve around the skits, like you were saying too, which is interesting because we don't do them any, which I understand. And we can talk maybe a little bit about that in a moment. But some of my favorite skits, I love the roller skating rink with Chelsea. That was fun.
That one.
I loved
That is
the
a good one.
Star Wars Cantina with Adrian.
That was fun. That was fun.
And then I loved our Christmas musical extravaganza.
With the Bob Dylan.
That's right. That was great. You made the little reel of me singing, "Oh, I hate Christmas," and the associate pastor at the church where I work, she's amazing, but she said, Daniel, she said, I was going going on the internet the other day, and I came across this random video of you singing, "Oh, I hate Christmas." And she was like, "What's up with that?
What is up with that?" Do you know this is public?
What?
What? The internet's available to everyone?
um,
Oh
so,
no.
but yeah, in terms of the skits, I mean, and in terms of reflecting, that's something
Mm-hmm.
that has changed. Yeah, we've kind of phased out those skits, and there have been, we've done that for a number of reasons. I think, one was, um, you and I have talked about this, Kevin. We heard feedback from folks that there were a fair number of folks who, and we totally understand. They were like, we really want to get into the meat of
Mm-hmm.
the episode and what it's about, and so folks, who would kind of maybe see the opening skit as a distraction or skip through it, which makes sense. I think we found that maybe if the people, the listeners that know us like outside of the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
they seem to enjoy the skits maybe just because they know us already. But outside of it,
Right.
it just seemed kind of odd and distracting. Any thoughts on that
Yeah,
or
no, I totally agree. I
yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed them, but I know in my own life when I listen or watch things, I really want to just get to it. I will skip intros and things. So that
yeah,
was mostly for I guess a general audience. We didn't want to preach to the choir anymore. So we
right,
wanted
right.
to reach a broader audience. But yeah, I do miss them. So they were fun. They were fun. Um, but and side note to that, Daniel, one of my favorite memories is all these great books you've introduced me to because I've not read as you have about some of the game theory and ideas, and so getting to read Bernard Suit's Grasshopper, I keep going back to that and rereading bits of it from time to time because it's just so great, and I'll want to look something up or whatever. So love the Grasshopper and Kate McGonigal's Life or no Reality is Broken. So thanks for getting me to read some really awesome books with our book club. So that's been
Oh,
great.
well, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for being willing to do that. And you've connected me up with Moltmann's Theology of Play too, which I've been enjoying as well. And yeah, I really I hope that we can continue those book club episodes. Those are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fun. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and for all these things, I'm interested to hear from our listeners too. If what do you think about the book club episodes, the skits, the things? Feedback is great, but those are great. I agree. Those are great memories, Kevin. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for bringing up the book clubs. Those are great too.
And
Um,
what's the third part of a? What did you tell us before?
about our things that we're talking about today, the State
Yeah,
of the
the thing
Union.
with the thing, the third
Yeah.
bit of
So
the
then
state
then
of the thing.
priorities, which is what are we hoping for the future? So yeah. So what are some of your
Priorities.
hopes for the future?
Well, of course, we want to see things continue to grow, and it is growing. It's a nice steady growth, so that is
Yeah.
really awesome. And
Yeah.
we just keep quietly growing listeners and things. So yeah, we want to continue to reach people, and I think engaging people because we really like that. So finding ways for you all to interact with us will be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. I agree. I think that last part especially is something I'm hopeful for. I think what has hit me occasionally in this over the last year doing this podcast is it's hit me how there is an absence of a place, either physically or virtually, where people can gather who share a common interest in the spiritual importance of games and play. There are organizations out there dedicated to the importance of play for psychology and emotional health and physical health, and all of that's really
Mm,
important too. But there's nothing out there that creates a space where people can gather interested in the spiritual religious benefits of play and games.
mhm,
And and I think we kind of get little glimpses of that from time to time over the last year. And I would
mhm,
love it if this could kind of board game faith just could continue to grow in that in terms of allowing um, points of access and engagement to people around the world who kind of share this common belief that play and games are an essential part of the human spirit and are good for the human soul, and why that is, and why play is part of who God made us to be, an essential part, and and so yeah, so I think ways that we could continue to do that and to find people who share that common passion and to
mhm.
build, so Kevin, I've talked about different ways of doing that. We've already started the newsletter, but you've had these great ideas about curriculum. We could work up curriculum, or new online content. You and I are talking about a book you've got together a great outline on that. I've we've toyed around with this idea of would it be great someday if we had like a conference on the theology of play, or board game faith or board game faith conference, or whatever you want to call it, or even some sort of physical location. It would be cool if there was like a center for the theology of play somewhere, so yeah, I think that's those are aspirational and aren't going to happen next month, but I love we could continue to kind of carve out that space, both maybe in the virtual world and maybe in the physical world as well, for folks who share that belief.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And what have you learned?
What have I learned? I've learned that there's a lot of material about this topic that you and I have been sensing, and I've learned that some people have written about it, but indirectly. So we are kind of unique, which is great that no one's exploring this intersection of religion and spirituality and board games. So we're innovating, which is I'm proud of. And I've also learned some audio production and a little bit of video production. So still terrible at it, but less terrible. And yeah, how about you? You've been a great tech wizard through all of this, Kevin. Our listeners may not know, but I mean, yeah, this podcast could not exist without all your technical skills, in addition to your academic and spiritual insights. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I've learned is just really about the community, right? Kind of getting back a little bit to what I was saying earlier, just that we're not alone, right? That's really been hearing from our listeners around the world, our guests around the world. It's just nice. It's a blessing to know we're not alone, right? We're not alone just in general, but also we're not alone specifically in feeling like there's something important there at the intersection of play and games and religion and spirituality. There are others who feel the tug of significance and truth in that overlap as well, and just being able to kind of see that community start to form, and to know we're not the only oddballs in the world who find this overlap interesting, has been really great. It's been great, and that it's important, right? That it's important, this overlap. Sorry, I'm shaking my camera here because I don't have it. I'm on boxes. Like you said, that's what Bernard Suits talks about, what Jane McGonigal talks about, or our guests talk about. Dave Bindewald, that episode was, can games save the world? That in some ways that's hyperbole, in some ways it's not, right? Just to talk about that I think one thing this has taught me is that play and its subcategory of games, because games are what we do when we play, are of much more spiritual importance, religious importance than I had realized before beginning this journey with you, Kevin. And maybe in some ways, if we call it by a different name, maybe of the highest importance, if I could be so bold to say that. We've gotten this idea before that, is play just another name for grace, and it hit me the other day that play in some ways is the religion to which every human being belongs, right? That like we audacious.
If religion, we talk about etymology of religion is to bind again, to bring together again, religion or whatever, to bind again the things that have been separated. What binds us together more instantly across divides than play, and anyway, so that's something I feel like I've learned too, that
wow.
I think this can get at some of the most important stuff of life. And I'm just so grateful to be on that journey, to be a spectator and kind of seeing how that journey unfolds with you and with our guests, and the little bits of goofy stuff that I do along the way. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I guess that's what I'd say.
Awesome, awesome. That very profound, very profound.
Well,
So,
I don't know.
tell me about this contest,
Yes,
Daniel.
contest. So, to celebrate 1,000 listeners, 1,000 followers on Instagram, we are holding a contest. And so, between now and the end of May, May 31st, 2023, if you would please take a photograph of yourself and some of your favorite board games in your place of worship and post it on Instagram with the hashtag BoardGameFaith, that will enter you automatically into this contest. So again, posting a photograph of yourself with some of your favorite games in your place of worship, hashtag BoardGameFaith on Instagram. And we are already have had several entries into that. At the end
So
of May,
keep them coming.
please keep them coming. We've heard from some of you who've said you want to do it but haven't done it yet. So you got plenty of time still. At the end of May, we're going to take all of those entries. We're going to randomly select winners. Grand prize is going to be a brand new Board Game Faith Celebration t-shirt and your choice of either helping Kevin and me pick a topic and doing the intro for the episode, or a Board Game Faith coffee mug. Second place is that new Board Game Faith Celebration t-shirt. Third prize is a coffee mug. And
Fourth prize is a helicopter, Board Game Faith helicopter.
It is.
With a
it
pilot.
is. And a trunk.
And a letter.
And a
that
letter
you
in
mailed
that
yourself.
trunk.
I'm gonna make a silver letter. Make
So,
it
yeah. So please enter the contest. We would love to have you.
That's right. That's right. So what you need is grab a couple of just box lids from your favorite games is really sufficient. Or if you want to take the game and do a little setup, you can. And you're gonna need someone to grab or be there with your phone to take a picture, and then just decide how you're going to stage it. So it could be at the fellowship hall, or outside the front of the building, or actually in the house of worship, or somewhere alternative if you want to go outside, or somewhere that is really very connected and religiously important to you. Go for it. Yeah. So that's all you need. Doesn't take but I don't know, a little bit of thought in 10 minutes. Yep.
Yeah. We would
And
love
then email
it.
it to us or post it on Instagram.
Post it on Instagram. Yep. With hashtag
Board Game Faith.
Yeah, that's how we can find it. So please use that hashtag. That'd be great. And one other way that you can support us that we haven't talked about very much is if you like this podcast, and if you'd like to support it, if you haven't done it already, please consider rating us and on the podcast platforms, like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. There's this place where you can leave reviews of podcasts and give a star review on it. And if you like this, we'd love it if you want to maybe leave a rating and a review at Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. That helps a lot too to spread the word of Board Game Faith, and we appreciate that very much as well.
That's it. And you can find us at Linktree, Board Game Faith. And I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful week. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks so much, Kevin. And thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.